Rhonda Boyle is a transformational leader and coach. She's the best-selling author of Turning Talents into Strengths, Stories of Coaching, Transformation, and host of Coach Talk TV. Rhonda has been part of the strength movement since 2008 and is also a certified law of attractions facilitator with a special emphasis on neuroscience principles. So everybody, please practice your Zoom reactions and clap for my friend, your coach, Rhonda Boyle.
Hey, 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 everybody. Thank you so much, Dave, for that introduction. We do go back several years, gosh, like probably pushing 5 by now.
Yep.
And have loved working with you and Jane when you were in Oklahoma City. And so happy to come down to Orlando today. And you know what? This must be Asian week for me because day before yesterday, I was with I think it was 203 coaches from Singapore. So I've been to Singapore. I'm now in Orlando. So how fun. Yes, boomer sooner for sure. I'm actually not originally from here. You may discern an accent because I'm really from Atlanta. Anyway, yes. So I am really excited to be here with you and to share what I know around how amazing you are. I've been looking at the chat box and seeing all of your amazing talents. And so we're going to talk about those as we go along. So what I'm going to do now is share my screen. So hang tight and I will put the presentation up here. And here we go. Let me play from right here. Here we go. Strengths Discovery. Welcome, welcome. And so we're going to get started just right now. How many times have you heard that it's not about you? Anybody heard that? It's not about you. Well, I'm going to suggest to you that it actually is about you. It's always about you. And I don't mean that in an egocentric way, but rather that we are all self-interested. You know, there's a survival mechanism in us where it is really all about us. So no matter what we do in life, no matter what choices that we make, we get something out of it. It's just how we're wired. And so in this training today, we're going to focus on you, the amazing you, who you are, and what you need, and how you operate as your very best self. So I'm going to ask you to think about where you are in your life and business and to really focus on where you want to be as, hang on just a second. Let me make sure can y'all see the Zoom chat here on the screen? Like, is it covering her face?
No.
Okay, so you can't see it. Is that right?
I know if people minimize not minimize, but shrink down their from full size, then and click on chat, then it'll pop up on the side. But if you're in full screen, then it'll make the chat float.
Okay, good, because I want to make sure I'm not covering anything up for you guys to see.
You're good.
So yeah, anyway, but today, the more honest and open you are with yourself, you don't have to share anything here today, although I'd love for you to, but the more you can focus on you today, the better off you're going to be and the more you're going to get out of today's session. So we're going to start with a word. What is in a word? And we're going to have a conversation around a word. And here's why. Because words matter. The way we accept words matters because we build meaning around words. Everybody get that? Say yes if you understand what I mean, that words matter. And so here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about your immediate reaction to a word that I'm going to pop on the screen. Everybody ready? What was your gut reaction? Important. Strength, tough, negative, weak. Authentic, yes, authenticity. Okay, open, difficult. What else? Openness, risky. We have a lot of meaning around that word, don't we? So sometimes for most of us, honestly, it is a negative. You know what I'm saying? If we think about it and especially if we feel vulnerable, okay, it makes us feel naked. In the South, we would spell that Nekkid. So unprotected, exposed. You know what I'm saying? It's like it does not have a good feeling. And if it does have a good feeling, like today, some of you have said that it open, authentic, transparent. That's good because it tells me that you feel safe in this particular environment. So I'm glad to hear that. Anyway, a lot of us do have that negative connotation. And often there's a physical feeling that comes with it. Right? It either hits you in the stomach or in the chest or in your shoulders or something. And it's because when you feel vulnerable, you may feel fearful and anxious. Yes, Brene Brown, absolutely. I love her work, and she very much influences the things that I do in my coaching. So what you're feeling when you feel vulnerable is a fight or flight response. It's that mechanism, that instant reaction that puts you in, you know, like danger, beep, beep. It's like all alarms go off and you know what I'm saying? So here's what you may be asking. Why are we talking about vulnerability? Because you're here to talk about your business, right? Yes, first person you thought of, it was Brene Brown, exactly. So here's the thing is that we have vulnerability. We face vulnerability issues all the time in our work, right? So we may have, we have these issues around vendors that we're working with, clients that we're talking to. It causes a disruption in your business. Like we're in a pretty major disruption right now. I don't know if y'all have noticed, right? And so we're all kind of used to this vulnerable feeling a little bit more right now, but usually it's not a good feeling. And if you can think about how you felt just, 6 or 8 weeks ago, how vulnerable from that disruption. But it really, it is a key topic for you, Dave. That's good to hear, good to know. Now, it costs you when you are dealing with vulnerability, right? And so it could be a lack of vulnerability. That's when it costs you, is when you're not open to being vulnerable. You're closed, you're shut off, you're inauthentic, you're trying to be somebody who you're not. That's when it can become a problem, right? And so it does cost you. There's a hidden cost that cannot even be calculated. You lose clients, you lose business. Lots of negative things can happen. And you know that it happens when, between vendors, it happens between coworkers, it happens when employees or even your family, right? It happens in your family when they don't meet your expectations. We make judgments about that kind of thing. And usually it's about how wrong they are, isn't it? I mean, if truth to tell, they're not doing it our way. And we're like, well, that's wrong. So what happens when we are not vulnerable and open and authentic, when we have those negative responses to vulnerability, is that we limit collaboration and cooperation that happens. And we eliminate or limit those possibilities. And so that's where it can become a problem, and it can impede your productivity too, right? And the things that you're doing. So you lose customers and clients and so forth. So here's what I'm going to also suggest is that vulnerability, or the lack of, causes you as many problems in your personal life as it does in your professional life, right? I mean, it's just all over all over us. So we're not vulnerable. So what? How in the world can I tie a lack of vulnerability into the chaos that we've got going on? Now, somebody, you want fried chicken, right? The chaos that we've got going on in our world. How can I tie those together? Well, it's easy. What do we do when we instinctively feel vulnerable? What do we do instinctively when we feel vulnerable? Tell me, give me some ideas. What are some things that we do when we feel vulnerable? Yes, Isabel, we hide. Anthony, we make excuses. We become defensive. Yes, fight or flight. Nintendo Switch. Does that mean you just shut down? Yes, react. Brian, you're right. Shut down. Project. Oh, yes, that is exactly what we do. We hide, we shrink, we get smaller. Isn't that a bummer? We judge, we blame others, and guess what else? We avoid responsibility. And here's why we do it. We're trying to protect ourselves. Yes, we absolutely deflect, for sure. And we do it, that's what we're doing. We're trying to protect that space. We're trying to eliminate risk. And we do it, every single one of us, every single day. You're never going to be cured from it. I hate to tell you. What you can do is learn when it's happening, and then you can start to choose in the moment instead of react in the moment. And so this is where we want to be. Every day, all day, this happens, only it is so automatic that we don't even notice. And so when we are not vulnerable and we hide and become inauthentic, then we really lose awareness of who we are. And we detach and disconnect from other people. We lose our ability to communicate effectively. We develop shame and we become victims. Yuck. And so to avoid that feeling of shame, which is what triggers us in the first place, we fill our time and our space with things like distraction and busyness and alcohol and drugs and overeating and video games and all of the ills of our society. And it's because we're trying not to look at what's underneath. And so all of these consequences really do drain our energy, impede our performance, and it damages our personal relationships. Shame destroys our integrity with other people, but more importantly, it damages our integrity with other people. More importantly, it damages our integrity with ourselves. Isn't that true? That's the worst part of it, is that we always have this little monkey on our back because we were out of integrity with ourselves. So here's the answer. You're not even going to believe it, and you're probably going to be annoyed, and just, don't shoot the messenger. That's all I got to say. Here we go. Drum roll. Yes. Vulnerability is the answer. Vulnerability is actually the answer because it's the antidote to shame. It stops humiliation and it creates authenticity and transparency, and it builds trust and openness, and it becomes the fuel for collaboration because you are honest and open about what you need, and you begin to accept others and stop judging them. It's just the truth. It's how it works. Shame seems already a pervasive cultural facet of Asian life. Well, you know what? Can I just say, I hate to tell you, I've been coaching for 12 years, and it's a facet of every life, everyone. You get doubly shameful when you're not vulnerable. Well, I think it's, you get degrees of shame. So I don't think that there's a double or a whatever, but this is part of the human condition. It just really is. And that's why I said before, it's learning. I wish I could tell you, poof, go be vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? And then we're all like vulnerable. I wish I could do that, but I can't. What I can suggest is that you're going to feel it, that fight or flight. And that's your opportunity to stop, look, and listen to find out what's really going on. Asian shame seems spicier. Well, you know what? The Hispanic people coming out of Latin America are going to like fight you for that title probably. Anyway, here's where we get so much opportunity when we are open, transparent, and so forth. So yeah, kind of like imposter, could be called imposter syndrome. You know, imposter syndrome is a label that means that deep down we all really know that we don't know what we're doing. That's all it is, right? And guess what? Every one of us have that feeling somewhere inside of us in some way. And again, it's learning how to manage and understand these things show up in your body. Like you feel them, or you know what I'm saying? Like I used to throw my back out, you know, and that was my sign. And then I learned how to not throw my back out. That I didn't have to I learned what the sign was before throwing my back out. You know, it was a little bit of numbness in my hip. Okay, got it. I'm hearing. You know what I'm saying? So when we hide or we become inauthentic, and I'm not using that word as like that's the intention. Hey, let me go be inauthentic today, said no one ever. It's a reaction, you understand? And it's just part of our human condition. Not necessarily doubly shameful, but being vulnerable is just more honest. And it does lead to better self-improvement. Yay! Ding, ding, ding. You win. All right. So let's see. This is the thing about when you get to this point of vulnerability, you are able, what it does is it creates awareness, and it allows you to develop an alignment between who you are and what you want in life. A lot of you aren't getting what you want because you don't really want it. You know, it's sometimes you're being driven by something other than what your own true self, right? Anyway, here's the truth also, that it makes you more confident in being who you are. When you're vulnerable and you're okay with who you are, here's where I love, and I want each and every one of you, this is my intention, to be able to be to the point in your lives where you get to say, I know who I am and I know who I am not, and both are okay. Wouldn't that be amazing? Huh? Where you can, without shame, say, oh, that's not in alignment with who I am. Where you could say, no, thank you anyway. And you don't take on something else. Newland says, sign me up, Cassie, totally, right? Okay, so this is where we're going to go. This is where we want to get to, right? And this is, how do we get there? That becomes the question. So I am going to share some information with you on how to get there. And I've discovered a tool which you now know about, and it is the Clifton Strengths Assessment. It's a simple tool. It's been around for more than 50 years now. And it was developed by a company, a man named Donald Clifton, who is with Gallup. You know, he merged and all that kind of stuff with Gallup Corporation many, many years ago, like in the 1960s, they merged. But he built this tool back in the 50s, and he really started understanding that people were naturally gifted one way in certain ways. And if you could live in those ways, then you could have, greater joy and higher productivity in your life. So here's what I want to do. I want you guys, we're going to do an exercise, and I want you to sign your name anywhere on your paper. Yes, they are all the same. They've had you want to talk about branding? That's a company that has had major branding issues throughout the years, right? But I want you guys to sign your name. Just sign it anywhere on your paper. I want you to sign it maybe like you're signing a check, or maybe you're signing on the dotted line for a real estate transaction, or maybe you have a police officer standing at your left shoulder saying, sign here, please. Not like I would know ever what that's like. Okay, you guys are signing. I see Dave and Jane. Yep, pop it up there if you want to let me see your sign. And here's what I want to ask. For those of you who've signed your name is good. I see you, Brian. Good, good. So how was that for you? Tell me what that was like to sign your name. Like, did you have to think about it? Was it hard? First name only. Subconsciously easy, natural. Love signing your name, Jeannie. I love that you love that about you. I did think if it was a trick question. Isabel's a little on to me, maybe, right? And Jane, analytical. You were thinking about it. Is that it? And messy. Nicholas says it's messy. Is it normally messy, Nicholas? Still getting used to a new signature. Do we have a new name, Marinka? You're used to signing, getting used to signing autographs. There you go. Yes. Okay, great. So, well, good for you. Congratulations on that new name. How fun. So, all right. Well, let's try that again. Okay. I want you to sign your name again. This time I want you to sign it 5 times. Everybody ready? With your non-dominant hand. Huh? You are busy doing your little signing. I can see you. Head down. Okay, Jeannie's done. Jeannie's like done. That's with your non-dominant hand? Okay. All right. I'm going to put you out of your misery. You can stop now. Let's talk about the differences. What was different? She ran out of space. Worse than your 6-year-old, Cassie. What else? Non-dominant. Hold on. You are non-dominant, Dan. It started to get, it started easier and then got harder. Yes, it was a struggle to even hold the pencil. It was challenging. It came out more clear, Anthony. More messy, Nicholas. Can't even tell what it is, Isabel. Yes, you had to concentrate. Very uncomfortable and awkward. My loops were super messy. Really had to concentrate. Went as fast as you could, but most of the signatures are similar. Okay. Clearer because you did it more slow. Okay, Anthony, got it. It's looking like Americans using chopsticks. Hey, listen, I resent that remark. I'm pretty good with chopsticks. Okay, felt like your hand didn't belong to your brain, right? Isn't that interesting, the differences? So we're going to talk, did it make you feel a little bit more vulnerable? Similar as in illegible. David, you're American. All right. So here we go. Let me talk. We're going to talk more about the that signing in just a second. Yes, you did hesitate. Felt like you really needed to commit, Caesar. Yes. All right, let's talk about this strengths assessment for just a minute. I'm really thrilled to introduce you to it. As I mentioned, it's over 50 years old, and I believe it is the most powerful personal and professional development tool on the market today. Can you hear my belief? I really do. And I'm going to tell you that you can use it for the rest of your life. In fact, I don't care what else you get, you know, what other personal development you have. This one needs to be a keeper. Like you need to use it constantly. You'll be done when you're dead. Okay, got it? So let me tell you a little bit more about it though. You've been using it, Marinka, for years. Good. Love that. Me too. All right. So 34 talent themes. Gallup, they decided that there are 34 of these. There are now, I think they're close to 23 million now tested. And it's in a lot of large corporations like Harley Davidson, FedEx, Facebook, Google, Johnson and Johnson. It's in colleges and universities. Almost all entry level at private schools, the first year of college, they almost all, and especially in the business school, they get their assessments taken. And it's also in churches. I have done many, many churches and even a couple of civic organizations. So you can use this everywhere. Dave says it's in NAAAP Orlando. Yes, strengths-based leadership. Fantastic. I'm so glad that you're already using it. So it's been around for over 50 years, as I mentioned before. And it was created by Dr. Donald Clifton. He was a professor at the University of Nebraska. And he stumbled upon this work by when he was trying to create a speed reading assessment training. And so he found what they discovered was that kids came to the table and they naturally read quickly, and then they quadrupled their reading speed. It's pretty interesting. So anyway, here's the thing. Over the first several years of your life, due to your life experience, the family environment, and so forth that you were born into, you began to use some of these talents more than others. There's some that you don't use at all. You don't think that way. The people that think that way are like from another planet to you, and you probably married them. I'm just going to say that's usually what happens. And so anyway, I know that many of you have used assessments, I'm sure, right? And how many of you have had taken personality tests? Which ones have you taken before? Because they're all great. There's Myers-Briggs, and there's the DISC, Insight, yes. There's the Colors, Bank, yep, and Hertz, Enneagram, yes, Enneagram, Chinese Zodiac. Too many to name, yeah. Some of us have to take every one, even those BuzzFeed ones that tell us what kind of mermaid we are, right? Don't we do that? Confess if you do that. You tell me if you do that too. I'm telling you, yes, BuzzFeed, they're your favorite. I know. And they're probably stealing all our data. I'm just going to tell you. Hang on a second. Let me see here. I think we have somebody trying to get in, and I just lost you guys. Hold on. Where did I go? Here I am. Am I back to the right screen? Can y'all see my screen? Yes. Okay. Somebody's trying to get in. That's what happened. Brent is coming in. So I could see my little button over there. Your CEO drove all the different assessments. Yeah. Personal development. That's a great boss. I'm just going to say the fuzz. So here's the thing. This is what's different about the StrengthsFinder assessment. Clifton Strengths, Gallup, Clifton Strengths, whatever they're calling it, is that it tells the how you do business, how you do relationships, how you do life. This is what it tells us. Not just who you are or why you're doing things, but the how you're going to do it. What's your first instinctive way of getting it done? Toast types. Okay, so once we know that, once we know how you do things through coaching and training and talent development, you can naturally begin to grow stronger in what you already do well. Most of our lives, we have been taught to work on our weaknesses. Who has been taught that? Yeah. Like, are you kidding me? The best you can be when you work on your weaknesses is mediocre. I can't wait to be mediocre, said no one ever. Right? No one said that ever. Okay, hang on a minute. I'm trying to get him in the room. Let's see. You got an unsatisfactory talking in grade school. Me too. Me too. Save the headache and skip forcing someone to be something they're not. Yes. Hey, Brent, glad you could get in.
Hey
yes. Hey. Okay, so you got detention. Yes, soar with your strengths. That's actually the name of the book. The first book Dr. Clifton ever wrote is called Soar with Your Strengths, released, I believe, in 2004. So that's what started this movement. He started this movement. So when my dad passed away in 2012, and after the funeral and friends and family went away, my siblings and I opened a box of memorabilia, and inside I found my second grade report card. I did. You know what I found out? I was a behavior problem. Y'all can't imagine that now, can you? Yes, true story. The teacher wrote on she wrote on the report card, Rhonda cannot sit still. And then they said, and she won't stop talking was the next thing. I got 2 unsatisfactories. And then at the bottom, she said, Rhonda is not living up to her full potential. Well, I didn't even know what that was. I was 7, you know. We all have stories like that of the parent-teacher conferences where they were trying to fit us in those little molds that we did not belong in. How many of you understand that experience? Say yes if that's true for you. Elizabeth, you know what? Remind me, because there is an assessment. How old is your son? Yeah, you didn't know, in 7th grade, right? And I was 7. He's 9. There is an assessment for him. It's called Strengths Explorer. And it's for 10 to 14-year-olds. If he's a good reader, it would be good for him to take that. And then that would help you. All right. Now, let me give you some shocking information. He is outgoing and a troublemaker, right? That's what they're labeling him when he's amazing. He's going to be this is where you start working with him on presentation skills, and you let him do stuff like oral book reports, and you give him the opportunity to speak. Okay, so here we go. Shocking drum roll. The chances of somebody having the same top 5 as you is 1 in 278,000. The chances of them having the same top 5 in the same order, 1 in 33 million. And the chance of somebody having the same top 6 as you is 1 in 1.34 billion. You are unique, like everybody else. And what they've discovered through this movement and through the amazing amount of science and research behind this tool is that we are at our best when we operate within our natural talents, and we stop doing those things that we are not good at, because we are probably not going to get better. How many of you have ever had a performance review and then had the indignity of a performance improvement planner? Huh? And you get dinged every year for the same stuff, don't you? You're not going to get better. I promise. You need to negotiate with your boss and get rid of that, because it's not what you do. And I'm not saying it doesn't have to get done. You understand? Somebody got to do it. So see what you can do in really changing the way you're doing things. This is your opportunity. All right. So here's what StrengthsFinder really is. It's a language. It is a language. And remember what I said before is that words matter. Okay. Language creates community. And language is passed down through community. And words cause war or peace, don't they? So what StrengthsFinder allows us to do is to start to learn a language that we all have in common. Because if I were to say to you, what does wealthy mean? Type in the chat box what wealthy means. Rich, filled, fulfilled, crazy rich, rich and abundant, emotionally satisfied, well-to-do, crazy rich Asians, not necessarily money, lots of resources, do what I want when I want. Yep. So here's the thing, is wealthy does not mean the same thing to everybody, does it? And it's because we've all grown up in different ways with different values in different places. And so we have different words. Now, we have different meanings to that word wealthy and any other word. So if we can adopt these words that are used with the Strengths Finder, and if we can really understand them and start to understand people based on their words and their understanding, it will be far easier for us to communicate and to get our needs met and to serve others in the way that they need to be served. So that's what we need to remember here, or really wrap your mind around, is that this really is a language. So here's another couple of examples. How many of you remember when the word gay meant happy? Doesn't mean that anymore, right? So words change too. How about ASAP? When is that? When is ASAP? Okay, I can see that none of you are agreeing with what ASAP means. You get what I'm saying here? How in the world it depends on if it's in caps or not. That's funny. Isabel, I love that. Okay, so how in the world can we communicate successfully if we have so much confusion around the words that we use, right? And it's all over the place. So that's the thing, is that with these words from the StrengthsFinder assessment, we can start to agree on what certain words mean. And that way we can all get our needs met, as I said earlier. We can build community, understand others, discover what we need, learn who we are and who we are not. So that's the opportunity that we have today. Now, let's talk about what you're good at. Who's ready to learn about that? Yay. Yes, me. Okay, now I'm dividing these talents up into 4 different categories, and we're gonna go over them category by category, so that you can start to get a feel. Because as you know from other personality types, there's like 4 colors or maybe 5, depending upon which assessment. DISC puts you up into the 4 sections. And what else? Myers-Briggs has 4 different categories. And so we're going to look at 4 categories, but we're going to look at the multiple talents within each one. So the first group that we're going to talk about I call them doers. They are also, you guys are divided into categories too. Okay. Let's talk about the doers. They're also known as the executing talents, or the executing quadrant in the Gallup terminology. But these people get stuff done. They are task oriented. They make things happen. They're very process oriented. They love to have their processes, all set out and lined out, and they resolve problems. They fix things, oftentimes within operations and so forth. Okay. So here they are. These are the executing or the doer talents: achiever, arranger, belief, consistency, deliberative, discipline, focus, responsibility, and restorative. So tell me what you have just in this category. Let's hear from the people in here. Name and claim what you got in this category. Okay, cool. Deliberative. So people, I'm going to just go through here quickly. Apparently you don't do anything. Miranda, not true. You just do it differently as opposed to as an executor. One is belief. Okay, so let's talk about just these. People high in deliberative talent see risk and danger. That's naturally what they see. Let's see, Marinka, is that you? You naturally see risk and danger, and you want to mitigate that risk, correct? Before we move forward. I'm asking if that's right, because that's usually a hallmark for people high in, yes, correct. She constantly makes backup plans. Sarah, do you have this deliberative? So, it's her number 5. Okay, so Isabel's deliberative and Sarah also has deliberative. So yes, achiever, I see this. So these are your risk assessors. Like, you are really good at identifying potential future problems. You hope she doesn't have a backup plan, husband backup plan. Me too. Okay, achievers, you little achievers, you guys are highly productive. You get so much done, and really, like, productivity is your gig. You love to be busy and productive. It's when you're not busy and productive, you're going to go out of your mind. You're really very intense workhorses. Right? And you love your little checklists, don't you? Do you have little checklists? You can't sit still. Oh yes, Cassie has checklist. Isabel can't sit still. You got to be Excel spreadsheet. You'll take a nap during that. Dave hasn't got any of these really super high, although belief is really high. Let's see. A ranger, people high in a ranger are all about efficiency and planning. They are your deep planners. They have their primary plan, their secondary plan, their tertiary plan, their backup plan, their rainy day plan. You got a bunch of plans, Amy? Contingency plans. You got some contingencies. So that's what a ranger does. Focus. People high in focus have the ability to zero in on their target and not break their focus. Like, we can be talking all around them and they don't even hear us. Have you ever noticed that about Jane, Dave? That she has a really high intense focus? Let's see. Here we are. Yes, when she's designing, right? And is she ever annoyed when you interrupt her? Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't interrupt her when she's in the middle of that, unless it's an emergency. Ask me how I know I have a husband who has that talent. And I can tell he can't keep the annoyance off his face. Let's see, where else are we on these? Belief. People high in belief have inner core values that are unchanging. And y'all don't go over those now. You cannot get past their belief. It's sort of like going over a cement parking bump. You're going to tear up the bottom of your car if you drive over that thing. Belief. People high in belief tend to have very strong family values, high character, honesty. Tell me how you feel about liars. Those of you high in belief. You can't be around them. They'd be making you crazy. Isabel, responsibility. People high in responsibility take psychological ownership of whatever they're handed or whatever they volunteer for. They own it. And they may not like to delegate or let it go. Is that true, Isabel? You're not going to let that go, are you? Okay, restorative, Brian, people high in restorative see broken things, broken systems, broken patterns, broken programs, broken people, and they know how to fix it or fix them. Is this true? That's typical hallmarks for. Or food, Dave. You're focused on food, Jane. You can interrupt her food. Interesting that belief is one of those interesting talents that it took Gallup. The dividing them into categories is rather a new thing since 2009 in Gallup. Otherwise, they didn't do that for the first 50 years. They didn't divide them into categories, okay? And belief was in all categories. And belief is absolutely influencing when they believe in something. Yes, fueled by passion, mission, absolutely. That is absolutely right, Jeannie. Let's see. You don't see broken people, Brian. A lot of this has to do with the talents that are around each of your talents. We call that theme dynamics, which is the dynamic interaction of your unique talents. And so if you don't have a lot of people talents, then you're more about the broken stuff and the broken systems and you're going to restore order to something. Yes, it does motivate you, Jeannie. This is where you get your energy. You get your energy from having purpose in your life. That's another hallmark of belief is they have purpose. So so Brian, you're like, nope, people are just fine. You don't see any broken people. So sometimes restorative, if it's got a lot of peopling talents, they see broken people. Okay. Restorative is your 30-second. Like, I'm with you. Yeah. I have maximizer high. So leave people or buy new things. Girl, I'm all about it. I am with you. Same thing. And this explains it, right? Doesn't this explain how we think about things? Like you probably would have no interest in restoring a house in the historic district. You'd rather go buy a brand new one out, in a brand new subdivision. Maybe. Okay. Thanks, Jeannie. Good to see you. Appreciate you. Let's connect later. Okay. So let's see. Okay. Let's move on to the next group of talents here. And these are our nurturers. These are relationship builders, and they are relationship oriented. They are the social glue that holds everybody together. They're all about taking care of the people. They're very intuitive and perceptive, and they are emotionally sensitive to others and sensitive to self. Like they can be sensitive. So let's talk about these amazing talent themes. And I want you to type in the chat box which ones you have over here. Adaptability, connectedness, developer, empathy, harmony, includer, individualization, positivity, and relator. Okay, Marinka, you have relator, number 1. Sarah has relator. And Nicholas has relator. Amazing. Harmony and relator, Jane has. All right, let's start with relator since that's the first one up here. People high in relator, they want deep relationships, authenticity, and depth is what they're looking for. They layer their relationships by spending more and more time with their besties and their favorites. How many of you with relator are still besties with your best friend? How far back can you go with your best friend? Many of you. have your kindergarten. Oh, you cannot stand fake people. Elementary school, Nicholas, right? Okay, here we go. 21 years. Relator is number 11. That's still very high, Brian. And maybe fake people don't know their strengths, or maybe, well, we're going to talk about that because I have a feeling I know which one you think might be fake. High school and college, yes. So you guys, there's only, you have 2 to 5 people in, it's like, if you can imagine a, what am I looking for? A target, right? You're going to shoot a bow and arrow at a target. You have 2 to 5 people in that bullseye space. And then you have people around, they're not your BFF, but they're like close, right? And then there are people a little closer, and then there's these people out here you don't have anything to do with, right? So yes, archery. So here's the thing, is very small inner circle, right? So, and that's because trust is extremely important to you. Trust. And so that's why you don't let a lot of people in. One thing I will encourage you is to start to identify people that are in these outer rings and bring them a little closer for business purposes. Start to explore, a little bit more about who they are. And you can do it with this StrengthsFinder assessment. You can start to bring them closer because you're going to understand how they're wired, and that maybe they're not really fake. Maybe they are working and their job is to connect other people, right? Maybe that's what they're doing. So they're on the surface instead of deep, right? A difference between the top part of the iceberg and the bottom part of the iceberg, if that makes sense. All right, let's move to this, and be sure to pop your questions in here. Individualization, people who are high in individualization, you already notice the uniqueness in each person. What StrengthsFinder is going to give you is the words to use, the language. You already naturally know where to put people on the bus. You know what I'm saying? On a team, you're great working with teams, and you want to customize everything. Now, this can be a problem because not everything can be, we do need a little consistency, although that might be a dirty word in my vocabulary, but not for those of you high in consistency. So because of that need for customization, sometimes that can be cause delays and things like that. So yes, Amy, me too. I have individualization really high. It's number 9 for me. So let's see, individualization. One other thing about individualization, I'll just give you this little secret. Okay. So people high in individualization, Gallup certified coaches, of which I am one, 73% of us have individualization in our top 5. Isn't that amazing? It makes you go crazy because it's controversial. Isabel, tell me why. Tell me more about that. Why you feel your individualization, you're customizing. Newland, you have this too. Wow, you guys have so many amazing talents in here. Trying to get things done. Yes, because you're customizing, and it makes you slower, right? So this is where you get to start to value systems and consistency. Not really, but you accept them because it's helpful to get things done. Like, I'm not going to customize that. I hate to not do it, but I know it needs to be done. It's your number 1, Caesar. Yeah. So you're understanding what I'm saying. It's hard to not customize because you know that if you do, that person is going to be better. So this is why you're wanting to do it so badly. So make sure you're in a place in your life or business where you have the freedom to customize. That's what I'm saying. You get to choose. You know what I'm saying? So like a real estate agent with individualization, trust me, they're going to customize that entire contract. but they're going to keep the certain things that keep them legally safe. You know what I mean? Okay, let's talk about harmony. People high in harmony, they want peace and balance. They're highly motivated for peace and balance. They want a win-win for everybody. And they're not going to usually step into conflict, although that's where they are best, Jane. That's where they work best because they bring harmony. Yes, you bring harmony, and yet to step in the middle of harmony, you don't want to go there. Ah! But it's a beautiful place for you because you're so good at negotiating. That's what you get to remember. Oh, I am good at negotiating. Once you step in there, you seek the win-win. So be sure to consider those things. Remember, if it feels like conflict, you're not going to walk into it. You're going to feel something in your body. So examine that feeling. The opposite of harmony is command. Actually, it's not an opposite. Yeah, she's cleaning up your mess, Dave. We already know that. I know it's your number 7. This is why you have her in your life. She is helping soothe. She'll do it for you, Dave. She will go and soothe the waters that you stir up, and you're going to stir them up. Me too, Dave. Although I'm not going to do it with command. I'm going to do it a different way. All right, let me go here. I'm trying to make sure I do not miss anyone in this category. People high in positivity. People high in positivity. You are happy all the time. And people are looking at you like, can anybody be that happy? Yes, you are happy. Unless you're not. Huh? And when you're not, you're really not. People high in positivity need to be around positive, high positive, cannot be around negative stuff. And if you're around negative for long, you're going down. Huh? You know what I mean? You're so happy. It's hard to say positive right now. Miranda, I feel your pain. Positivity is my number 7, so I get it. So we have to, there are going to be other ways that we're going to find to protect your positivity. Hang on, let me go back and ask you if you have not heard your talent in this area. Can you please tell me? Because I've lost in the chat box. I know connectedness is in there. Connectedness, people high in connectedness, you are deeply spiritual. You're working in a way that is intuitive and that is connected to all. Oneness would be a good way for you to think. I mean, you probably think oneness. And anything that happens to someone else is happening to you as well, like a oneness type of thing. People high in connectedness need community. Marinka, you have connectedness and relator. Oneness is the loneliest number. You have, who has relator and connectedness? Marinka, is that you? Or deliberative connectedness? Yeah, Amy has relator 7. Yeah, I was thinking about that relator and connectedness combination. Yes, and by spiritual, I don't mean religious or any of that. Yes, all one of the big overarching theme. Yes, absolutely. I was going to say that I thought someone had relator and connectedness, and I was going to say for you, really small groups are going to be good. Like small, because you do need community. It's not just you and your BFF. Deliberative and relator. Yeah. If there's one, there's no opposite. People high in connectedness tend to connect backwards. Like something will happen today and they're like, I don't know, but everything happens for a reason. And then 3 weeks from now, something else happens and they're like, I knew it. They connect backwards. Okay, I think I covered all of the talents here in this section, I hope. Dave is turning into Yoda. Let's talk about the thinkers. Guess what thinkers do best? They think, and they think, and they think. They are very task-oriented. Yes, they think everywhere, Dave. They focus on what could be. They're analyzing data. They're great at strategic planning. They're amazing. And here they are. Analytical, context, futuristic, ideation, input, intellection, learner, and strategic. How about that? Tell me what you got. Never bring a phone in the bathroom. There's your deliberative, Marinka, right there in front of us. Look at what she's saying. It's too risky to take your phone into the bathroom from germs. And she's just reminding us all of that. That is her deliberative coming up. Marinka, is that fun to see your deliberative in action? I love it. You love your germs. Analytical and input. Look at you guys. Amazing. Let's start with futuristic. People high in futuristic see the future as if it is now. You see 5, 10, 20 years into the future possibilities, right? It's not like you're predicting the future, but you see the possibility of it happening just so into the future. Let me just share with you that 13% of people have this in their top 5. And the rest of us probably think you have fallen off the watermelon truck when you talk about your futuristic visions. It's like, we can't see that. What's he talking about? Oh my gosh, he's talking so far in the future. Have you ever had that experience? You know what I mean? Dave loves watermelon. Yeah, Dave's in the year 3020. So let's see. Oh, Isabel, look at you. Analytical, futuristic, learner, intellection, and input. Context and learner. Wow. Okay, y'all, we may end up running late today because I get to yapping. So let's quick go over these. People high in analytical, I'm going to have to go over them in order because you have all of them are covered here. It looks like all of them are. People high in analytical love the charts, the graphs, the spreadsheets, the data. They want more data, and more data. They're going to analyze it and chew it up and think about it. And you can never, ever give them enough data. True or true for people high in analytical? Yes, futuristic helps with your strategic planning. Analysis paralysis. It is. You can be analysis paralysis. You need to have people around you who are action oriented, who will drive you crazy and not bring you all the data, but who will light a fire under you and get you to move. Right? Context. People high in context see the past. They know it. They know we are standing on the shoulders of giants. And they think and they remember the past. They're the ones that are annoying you at the meetings and they're saying things like, well, you know what we did before? And you futuristic people are like, hey, we're not there anymore. Do you see how we can start to argue about things because we see things differently, right? So you did it before, Brian, but the tendencies started creeping into the rest of your life, but you don't now, I'm hoping is what you're telling me. So you're not as paralyzed. Okay, so we went over futuristic. People high in ideation. Who's got ideation? Popcorn brain. This is me, my number one talent. My brain is popping constantly. And you never know what's going to come out of my mouth. Because you know what I'm saying? I'm led by what pops in to my head. People high in ideation are great at a brainstorming session as long as you do not judge what comes out of our mouths, because we're just ideating. And you're over there judging our ideas, and we're going to take our marbles and go home. That's what we do when you don't appreciate our ideas, Brian, right? So there's a difference between number one, like I don't sleep well because I get tucked up under my pillow, and take the sigh. And then bing, all of a sudden I'm off to the races with new ideas, popping at night. People high in input, I want to cover input and learner together because they often are, but they are different. They are both learning talents. Learner loves the process of learning. They love to click on the link and they fall down the rabbit hole and come up 3 hours later looking a little drunk because they've been learning. Newland, am I talking to you? Miranda, you never stop thinking. No. Learners they just love to learn, and they learn until they're done, till they're satisfied. Input is different. Input is also a learning talent only. Input demands that you become an expert. Okay? So with learner and input together, you're also fascinated by just tracking off into something that you're learning new, but you also layer learning on your specific areas of interest. Like you have certain things. I have input. This is my number 6. It's very powerful. We are great at researching topics we love, and we layer information, and we have a photographic memory. Okay? Makes sense about input, the differences between input and learner. Yeah, so Marinka, you probably use input more than learner. That's what that says. So that's a big stretch. Me too. Like I get opportunities every day to go learn new stuff, and I'm like, nah, I'm going to stick with learning more about this, more about my favorite topic. That's what we do. And it's because of the demand of the talent on us that we are experts in our field. Yeah, you can love researching, Cassie, but you do it differently than an inputter. So, we are collectors of data. Like we collect things too, So you may be researching in a short bit of space, you know what I'm saying? And whereas an inputter is going to input like a mad person. We input so much. People high in inputters could be hoarders. Absolutely. That's, of course, I call it the outhouse when you're not living in the talent. You're living in the weakness. Right? Because you stink in that area. Okay, intellection. People high in intellection. Tell me if that's you. You are a thinker. Think and think. In fact, you're thinking of something right now as I'm talking. You got something going on over here. I don't know what it is, but it's sort of like a noodle brain. You're thinking and then you run into something. Oh, what was I thinking about that? And you catch up real quick and then you think a little more and then then you bump into something else. Marinka, is this you? Right? You are a thinker. By the way, those of you, especially with learner, intellection, and input, hear me here, you need 2 to 3 hours a day by yourself to think and learn. 2 to 3 hours a day. You need it. I'm telling you, it is a need for you. Just like positivity needs to be upbeat around an upbeat and positive environment. If you have those 3 especially, you need time. Yes, you have to kick your husband out of the house. I had one lady, yes, meditation works. Absolutely. And that can limit your time for thinking unless you're a learner and then you got to go learn something, huh? So strategic. Hey, wait, you're home. Okay, let's talk quick about strategic. People high in strategic are flying at about 100,000 feet. They are able to look down and around on all sides of a problem and pick the best path. It's intuitive. It's intuitive that they see and sense. We have, did Amy get bumped out? She did. Amy, I'm sorry, I didn't see you waiting. She was there. Okay, so, oops, I changed my slide here. Hang on. There we go. All right. So did I answer all of your questions in here? People high and strategic, you're great at solving problems because you see the way to get there. You see the way to fix it. The biggest problem you're going to have is other people high and strategic who see a different path, because some of you are flying at 100,000 and some of you are at 98.5. You know what I'm saying? So you're not... You're not flying. And so when you're working with someone else with strategic, you're like, wow, I'm not seeing it that way. Show me again. And you have to that's a negotiation point so you guys can come to agreement. All right, let's move over quickly to our promoters or influencers. Hey, good thing she is a harmonizer. Yes, it is. Okay, people high in this category, these influencers, are your promoters in life. They are relationship oriented. They have presence and posture. They have social capital. They know everybody. And if they don't, they know people who do. They are your storytellers and your networkers. And they are the people that when they walk in the room, you know they are there. So here we go. Here they are. Activator, command, communication, competition, maximizer, self-assurance, significance, and woo. Tell me what you got here. Who has what? Oh my goodness. Dave, look at you. You have 4 here. Influencing. Marinka, yes, I see. Self-assurance. Okay. Activator, significance. Awesome. Woo. Why are you sorry, Miranda? I'm woo number 2. Wow. Look at this. Okay, wait. Your top 5. Brian, hold on. You're giving me where these are for you. Because 18, they're not your top 5. Non-wooers don't get it. That's right. They don't get it yet. Woohoo! That's right. Woos are the ones going, woo! All right. Let's go quickly over these. People high and activators are your activator. These are your movers and your shakers. They are about the movement. Have y'all seen me sit still here tonight or today? I'm constantly moving. I have activator in my top. Now, people high in activator see opportunity and seize it in the moment. They don't make a plan for it. They don't see what could possibly be risky or wrong. And they have no problems making mistakes. They're like, so what? And some of y'all are holding a grudge because they made a mistake 12 years ago. Right? They're all about, one of my favorite little taglines is, I'm making mistakes as fast as I can. I mean, that's what I do in life, is make mistakes. Yeah, Dave, we're like, so what? It didn't work. We believe we found another way that did not work. Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah, we all have to balance all of our talents. People high in command. Oops, where am I? Where'd I go? Sorry, I pressed my button. People high in command are natural leaders. They take command. And I use the word take intentionally. They take it away from you if you're not doing it right. They're going to take it. So that's what commandos do. And what people high in command actually do is bring clarity. One time I was at a meeting with Dave. Dave, this is your number 7. I was at a meeting with Dave. We were in a big group and something was going on over there. I don't know what it was, but Dave walked over and got right in the middle of it because he was going to bring clarity. He didn't even know what the problem was. He just knew there was one and he was going to clean it up. Jane has to clean up the feelings. She has to clean up the feelings because people think when Dave does that, some people are offended, Dave, right? They're like, he just came in and took charge. Dave doesn't even notice. Jane's like, it's going to be okay. She's patting everybody on the back, taking care of it, cleaning it up. This is how they work as a team. Am I right? Okay, so people high in communication, we never shut up. I'm just going to say it. We are yappy. People high in communication have the ability to be good presenters, love memes, love words, love quotes, love to pick the perfect turn of phrase to make sure that it's impactful. And so you do find us talking. Dave says, I talk too much in chat boxes. No, me too. I'm a yapper. Okay, we are going to run over as we finish up here. So people high in communication, some of them are excellent writers. And so they may not like to write, but with a little training and some tricks of the trade, they can become very proficient at writing. They love memes and things like that. People high in competition are motivated to win. Who's got competition? Cassie, is that you? You've got competition? Somebody has competition. And you guys want to win. It is loving to know what the prize is and then going for it. Yes. And you're going to race to get there. That's what people high in competition. And it's not about somebody else losing. Usually it's about winning and being at the top of the leaderboard. Brian, I'm with you. It's 26 for me. I could care less about winning. You go on now, go win. I'm so happy when people win, but it's just not me. That's not what drives me. But you are driven by winning. This is an amazing talent. And you see it in high competitors. I mean, anybody in the Olympics absolutely has competition high. Mm-hmm. So there's an energy about competition that makes people want to follow you. Medals are not important. Is competition high for you, Marinka, or no? Because they're not important for me either, right? But people high in competition, they're important. It's a recognition that they won. So it can be important. Now, sometimes they're winning court cases. Absolutely, for sure. Let me ask this, Cassie. You have achiever high as well. Is that right? Am I remembering rightly? Okay, so people with that duo of competition achiever, typically speaking, they have their own, they're not competing with other people. They're competing with themselves. And it's like every day you want to see how fast you can get out of bed and hit the alarm clock today. Right, I'm talking about the achiever and competition together. Sometimes it is the hardest competition to win. Yes, isn't that interesting? No, I'm teasing about the alarm clock. Yeah, you always want to do better. You're looking to beat yourself and your last goal and your last win. Whereas other people with competition high without achiever, they tend to want to win the prize. It's about the prize. And for you, it's a new way and every day a better way to win, right? Maximizer, this is my number 3. People high in maximizer demand excellence. Our standard highest, like if we're given the choice of good, better, or best, which is it? Good, better, or best? Like we're laughing. We don't even want to hear about good or better. We're like best and only best will do. And we are I say we because I got this is my number 3, goodest. And we are very intense. And sometimes people think we're mad because we're intensely looking for mediocrity because we don't want to be anywhere and around it. We're like, oh, no. We cannot be around mediocrity, can we, Dave? Food critic, yep. All the things, like, no, we have to be around the best. And we'll wait. We don't mind waiting. We're not doing anything. We're not joining if that's the case. It's a common strength at your school district. Wow, that's interesting, Miranda. And I think that's because they are interested in maximizing human potential. That's typically where maximizers, We just love seeing people do their best and be their best. So that's your maximizer. I did see someone with self-assurance, and people high in self-assurance. Let me just make you aware that this is the least likely talent theme to show up in the top 5. Least likely. Only about 4% of all the people having been tested out of 22 million or 23 million have self-assurance in their top 5. It's very, very rare. And I kind of think because people high in self-assurance are like, I don't need no stinking test to tell me who I am. I know who I am. You guys know who you are. And you have this space in your gut area. You have this feeling in your gut area, and that's what guides you. It is a feeling that guides you. And when you have a burning in that feeling, you're not going to go. There's something not quite right. And if that feeling is away, you are absolutely confident that you've made the right decision. But that's how you're guided by an inner compass. And that's usually, they call it in the gut area. If the burning feeling doesn't go away, you usually won't move. I mean, you're not going to go in 2 weeks, go to the doctor. I'm talking about a decision you might be making, right? You are very confident once you make your decisions. Very confident. People high in significance are very much interested in making an impact and leaving a legacy. So they do it by being out and about among significant things and significant people. They want to be around significant people. Success is important to them. They have their own internal measurement of success. They want to make an impact on the community, on the world, on their family, whatever it is. They want to make sure that they make an impact. And they're highly aware. They have an awareness and a belief that people are watching. So their reputation is significantly important. You know what I'm saying? Like making sure your reputation is protected is important for you. And that's because oftentimes you're lending your name to other people to be, to make an impact. Like, let me give you someone I believe had significance, and that would have been Danny Thomas. Do you remember who he is? He founded St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. So he was an actor in the 1960s. I think he died, I don't even know, really early, long ago. And he once he achieved fame, he spent the rest of his life raising money and lending his name to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. And everything he did was to make an impact in that way. So for people high in significance, you're going to want to have something, some mission, some an organization or something that you're going to want to serve to make successful, because that will give you satisfaction in your life. Hold on a second. I just went past here. Okay. So then finally we have woo. And where are my woo people? Say woo-hoo. People high in woo. This is the only talent that is an acronym, and it stands for winning others over. People high in woo are driven to get that spark that tells us that you heard us or that we influenced you. This is the talent. The people high in woo are your people. They're all about the people. They know everybody on the planet in your world, and they are people collectors. And they are collecting people so that they can connect. They become the connectors. So when you see them operating at a networking event and they're not hanging out with you, relators. You know, they see you, they're waving, and you're like, look at her flitting around. Look at him just flitting around. He cannot even sit still. No, because he's looking to be a conduit. Dave, this is what you do when you go to networking events. Yeah, right? We're always looking to go and connect. We become the connectors and the conduits to take you. And we are so delighted. We cannot even wait to take you and connect you to somebody. It's like the highlight of our day. Yeah, connectors from the tipping point? Maybe. Yeah, Jane, that's okay. We know you've wooed before. You got him right there, Dave. So you know what? Here's the thing. It's just a different way of operating, right? But the people who are high in woo are highly social, highly engaged, high connectors. And if you don't like to go to networking events, you need to call yourself a woo. And you say, hey, can you take me to your next networking event? And they can't even wait to take you. They'll go to the networking event even when they weren't planning on going, because they get to find somebody for you. It is like the thrill of our lives, Dave, right? When we can connect somebody to somebody else. We can't even wait. All right, let me just real quick run through this. We're not going to do an exercise. I have an exercise here that I do normally, but we're out of time, really. Here's where I want you to know that your top talents, and usually I'm working with people with their top 5, so I want you to look at your top 6, 7, or 8 when you do this exercise, even though it says top 5. But I want you to identify where do you belong? What is your first instinct? Your first instinct is going to be guided by your talents. So if you have, so you're a promoter, Dave, right? Your first instinct is to influence. This is how you do what you do, is you influence. Nicholas, you take care of the people. Yeah, Cassie, you're a promoter, influencer. Those of you who are executor doers, your first instinct to take care of the people, to take care of the situation. All of us are working to help other people. But this, Isabel, you're going to think about it first. That's your first instinct, is to go and think it through. Right? So, Nicholas, your first instinct is to go take care of the people. So, Brian, if you look and the number in the top 10 are equal for several, you're probably going to weigh it more heavily on the top ones. Okay, so back up a minute, and let's see, 2 in our promoter, and then the other 3 fall into one of the each. Yeah, this is not science, what I'm telling you here. I mean, it's educated guessing, right? But there's no way to know for sure which quadrant you're in. I think this was Gallup's way of kind of being sort of like DISC. You know, like they even have colors that are similar. Let me see here, Brian. Hold on. I'm going to suggest that you are probably you're probably an executor. That would be my guess. And the way I'm doing, or you could be, you're definitely, here's where the thing is. Notice the arrows in the middle, okay? You are definitely falling in the doer thinker category, okay? So you're weighing on that side. And people high in doer and thinker, the doers and the thinkers, y'all tend to be task oriented. You're not people oriented, because remember when I asked you about the individualization, you're like, nah, I'm not about the people. This is why. You're all about getting the stuff done and about the, taking care of business, right? You're thinking when you're doing, or yes, that's exactly it. Yes. Opposites attract. Yes. Yes. And you know what? They've done a study. I did a webinar, not a webinar, but a show on this a couple years ago. Dr. Alan, not doctor, his name is Alan Kelsey, and he wrote the book Strengths-Based Marriage. And if you go find that book, he said in there, he talked about in the interview I did, that that this opposites attract. It is an intuitive, subconscious way of healing. Isn't that interesting? They worked with like 30,000 couples. It's a huge study. Let's see, if you're a diagonal, a doer, nurturer, you're the way you get it done, you nurture by getting it done for the people. And then there are times when you stop and you take care of the people, right? Jane, it's like you have this split. Right now we're going to be doing. And then, oh, there's some people. I got to go take and nurture the people, right? And you're probably doing both at the same time. So, Marinka, I'm thinking you have command and self-assurance high, correct? Those tend to be, let me think for a second. Yeah, you're probably, it occurs to me based on some of the things that you have said here today is that you're leaning more towards a getting it done kind of stuff as a doer, but you do it for your people. Like you have that inner circle of people that really drives so much of your doing. Even when you're working, you're doing it for your people. You know what I'm saying? You may be out here working, but you're still doing everything. It's your relator. How does it look if you're a doer thinking but have individualization? It means that you're customizing all your thinking and doing. So you're thinking it through and then you're going, oh, but we must customize it for this person. And then you're customizing it before you do it. Isabel, am I on to you? Yeah, she's saying I'm on to her. I do have a steel trap brain, but I've been doing it like I'm brainwashed now. I don't know how to not do it. Let's see. 5 of your 10 is promoter. Yeah, Dave, I know you, and you're heavily weighted in promoter. Like you've got 3. Who am I missing here? 2 of your top 5, Elizabeth, and the other 3 fall into one of the quadrants. Yeah, so the way the assessment works is that you get your order of your talents based on how you answered and how quickly you answered. Okay, so as you go down, like you're probably dominant in your top 8, 9 maybe, and then you use supporting, you pull these up as you need them. Like I'm never going to pull deliberative up, ever. It's number 31. I had to marry somebody to get some deliberative. I had to go out and find me somebody and marry him to get deliberative. I'm married to my husband's number 1 talent is deliberative. I'm the riskiest thing he ever had in his whole life. Okay, do the top 5 ever change? Yes, they do. Absolutely. However, you do not ever need to take the assessment again. Okay, they change in order and it doesn't really matter. You can go down dominant. I believe that I know that I am dominant all the way down to my number 8. And then as I go a little bit lower, I'm a little bit not so dominant, like 8 through 12. And then my 13 and 14 are strategic and futuristic. And they work masterfully when I'm talking about marketing. And that's it. You can't have me do future. I can't see anything or figure out the way to get anywhere other than that. You know what I'm saying? So this is how they kind of come out. So this is not like Myers-Briggs where no, because this is the how. Okay, so you can, Cassie, most of her bottom are thinkers. You're not good at thinking. It's not that you're not good at thinking. It's that thinking things through is not your first instinct. You're going to go jump into it and figure it out. You're driven by that competition that sees the prize. You know what I'm saying? And you have a higher tolerance for risk than somebody who is a thinker. They don't always stay steady up the top. Yes, they would change order, and it doesn't matter. Do you understand? So if it's your number 4, or if it's your number, like if you take the test again, 76.24%, it's going to change. But the change is insignificant to how you're wired. Because if you think about these talents as a ladder, okay, and you're going, well, Amy, now that's interesting. That's rare. That doesn't usually happen. It depends on how young you were the first time you took the assessment too. And now you're listening much more, right? So if you think about these talents as a ladder, okay, and you're going to climb the tree, you will have your hands on 2 different rungs, and you will have your feet on 2 different rungs, correct? And as you're maneuvering and climbing up the ladder, you're using different talents and different talent combinations to get there. That's how it works. I never use my woo alone. Well, okay, I might go like this to my husband, right? That would be the only time I would use my woo alone. Otherwise, I'm using my woo to communicate, right? Or I'm activating on something. Let me see here. Where are we? Yes, they will change order, Miranda. You understand what I'm saying? But it is you don't ever need to take this test again. And yes, Amy, and this is why, because it causes confusion. Amy's like, well, gosh, what happened? Now I don't communicate. Well, you understand you've matured, and some of your talents have come up. So the only time I recommend that you retake the test, there's 2 circumstances. Number 1 is if there's been a long period of time between times that you've taken it, like 10 years, and you were very young when you took it the first time. And then the other reason would be if you've had some type of trauma in your life. Competition was number 2. Where is it now, Brian? 10 years ago. Yeah, Isabel, if you did take it again, so you don't need to take it again, right? Your competition went from 4 to 27. So, wow, interesting. 31. And it was 2 before? That is so interesting. Usually you do not find that big of a swing. I'm just going to say you don't. Now, can you sit down at the test and like with a different game face on because of your life circumstance? Yes. I am not an advocate that you go and take the test again, just because you already have enough to work with and enough to learn about. All right, let's move on here. Y'all want to go and print your reports. Where'd it go? There's so much in here that you will learn about. And Gallup has a new report out, and it's pretty hefty. It's like, I want to say it's 50 pages. Print it. Start going through it. In fact, I'm going to invite you, I'm going to have to skip over this part here. Hang on. Here's what I want you to do, or I want you to know that your strengths, these are talents. Yes, you are giving me a hard time. No, that's okay. No, but you see how confusing it can be when you take the test more than once. And a lot of times it's just the way you're reading the words. And your first time is usually, depending upon your age, is usually your most accurate. That's Gallup. That's what Gallup's data says. All right, but here's the truth. This is Donald Clifton who created the assessment. Strengths can only develop in relationship to another human being. All right, so those of you with learner and input and intellection, going home and thinking about all this is not going to help you develop this talent. What will is talking about these talents, sharing your results with other people, and inviting those closest to you in your work area, in your home area, your mama and them, like go invite them to take this test. And what will happen when you get the results and you have the conversation with them, here's what you're going to go. Now I know why they're doing that. Now I get it, why they're stepping on my last nerve. Because each of these talents comes with deep, profound needs. And if you don't get your needs met, then you start misbehaving. Your talent does not operate in strength. Instead, it operates in weakness. And we don't want that. So getting other people assessed and starting to adopt this as your language is going to really, really help you. All right. And there is the link, gallup.com/access. And you probably have it in your email, okay, from when you got the assessment the first time. And so with that, let me hear the ahas. What'd y'all learn today? Anything?
Rhonda,
come on, quick. Yeah.
this is Brian. I wanted to first thank you for all your advice, all your input, and just interpretation of all this. It's been very useful, very helpful. I wanted to thank you for your time.
You bet.
And I also wanted to thank the members of the NAP chapters who helped set this up and everything, Dave, and the rest of the Orlando chapter, Jane, Newland. So thank you.
You're welcome. My joy. I love introducing people to who they already are. Because that's who you are.
Everyone's like, wait a second, let me think about that.
How to learn more, how to lean more into this as opposed to resisting it, especially when you're told to work. Yes, I know. I'm here to break that, Newland. So it's going to be studying your reports and introducing it to other people. I promise that's the key. It's as fast as you can introduce and build a community, right? You want to build other people who understand this language because it's going to help you understand you. And then you will, like here's my first advice, print 5 copies of the Personal Insights report, the short report. It's like 7 pages. Print 5 copies of that and share it with 5 different people. No, not the 54, the 34. Oh, okay. It's 25 pages, Marika. Thank you. I thought it was 50. It's only 25. Whew, that's good. How to manage this with what we do and how do we optimize our own. Yes. Okay. So lots of different ways. The Gallup reports are really amazing to help you. The other way is to get a coach, hire a coach to help you really understand this. Yes, different combinations definitely mean different things. So you can have 2 people with the same talent in their top 5. That's that dynamic interaction between the different talents that are around it that make it different. So for example, 2 of you could have futuristic, and if you read your futuristic description on the personalized report, the smaller report that's like 7 pages, they will read completely differently.
Yeah, and then on that note too, both Jane and I had the opportunity to work with Rhonda on an individual basis where Rhonda had both of our strengths, and then this was like right after we got married. Was it before? I think it was after we got married. So it was really insightful where she was able to kind of talk about different possible scenarios that could play out, and it was just funny. It was almost like she was like watching us with a camera the entire time of like seeing how we were able to kind of work with each other, and then and give us different ways to get to grow from that, and then to understand how each other thinks. So it was really good workshop. So if you are very interested in that, definitely join her Facebook group and reach out to her. Yep.
There's the Facebook group. I have so many resources. You can also find me at rhondaboyle.com. I have a website there. Oh, and you know what else? I'd love for you guys to join Coach Talk TV. That will, if you go to that link, it'll go right to the Facebook group where I do interviews with other coaches to help develop the coaching industry as a whole, because I think it's so important. Coaching is so important. And so it helps you balance your top 5 that can be a bit overwhelming with more empathy. Marinka, what do you mean by this? Help me understand. You have empathy or you don't have empathy? Anthony, the 5 people to share with, your dearly beloved, whoever you're, if you have somebody really important and significant in your life, I would share it with your mama and them, like somebody from who has known you forever. And I would recommend that you share it with someone from work. Yeah, you don't want to focus on using it, Marinka. That's the point of this. Because you're not going to ever have just because you don't have empathy doesn't mean you cannot be empathetic, right? You can be empathetic. Anyone can be empathetic. You can learn. People high in empathy sense and feel what other people are feeling. Yeah. So, because I want you guys to really get that part about not fixing your weaknesses. Again, it doesn't mean that stuff doesn't get done. It means that this is your opportunity to find a new way to do it, because you're not going to do it well, ever, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Yes, and those people use empathy to act and make decisions. They do, because they're feeling their way, where you are deliberating your way. Do you see the difference? Yes, the Gallup webcaster on Facebook. You can see me in their 3rd season on the Woo, if you ever want to go take a look at that. Your keyboard sticking. Okay, so let's see. Let me give you what else. I think, yeah, I have a group, and I would love to have you guys join there. And I have written on all of the talents. So like if you're going to go visit somebody and you want to learn a little bit more about them and their talents, you can actually go to my website and you can search for the talent. And I've got it all right there where you can learn. In fact, let me grab that real quick so that I know I have it on stop share for just a second, but hang tight and I'll, let me think. Where did I put that? Hang on. Well, there is a, I'll send it to you, Dave, so that I can have it. I have a single blog that has every one of the talent themes listed. So you can literally go to the blog and then bing, click on the link and go read more about Belief or whatever. Yes. Thanks, Brian. Great. And yeah, you guys find me. I am thrilled to help you and serve. I love this work. I love helping people find their way and better ways. And so you guys have downloaded the Gallup app. We talked about that. And then this is the Very Best You group, which I'm talking about on Facebook. And then as we close, let me just say, the mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. And I am just going to invite you to not allow that to be you, because we need you. We need the very best of you. And so please be all that you can be. I sound like a commercial, right? But I have enjoyed being with you and here to continue answering questions. But I know we have run out of time.